Hey, what's up? This is Jesse with JLS Comics. Today we're talking about the Eternals, rumored plot details, casting breakdowns, and what have you. These rumors are interesting because they are an aggregation of what we already know for the most part, and it's pretty reasonable. When we go through this, you're going to see that this is very plausible. This is not Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. This is not Tom Holland back as Spider-Man. This isn't, Warlock and all these crazy theories of things. This is all pretty reasonable, and it will make sense. Before we get any further, I do want to warn you that this is a potentially massive plot leaks. So if you are concerned about that, definitely put this in your watch later queue and come back and watch it when you're no longer concerned. Before we do start, I want to thank you for watching JLS Comics, whether you're coming back or you're here for the first time. Appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe because we upload videos just like this one every single week. So let's get right into this. So I do want to say that some of these rumors came from 4chan and Reddit, which are a questionable source, but again, like I said before, this is all pretty reasonable. It's come from multiple sources, and a lot of it is what we already know about the film. So let's talk about the plot. The movie spans thousands of years. It explores the Eternals' influences across history in places like Babylon and Camelot. Some of the stuff I'm going to be reading verbatim, others I'll paraphrase. The Eternals are this family of immortals. They were put here on Earth by the Celestials. And the Celestials we've already seen in the MCU. We saw them, Esau and the Searcher, for example, with one of the Infinity Stones. The Eternals were put here on Earth to keep the Deviants at bay, which is another genetic variant that the Celestials created, which is interesting because Thanos is a deviant, and we'll get to that in a moment. So the Eternals have this place called the Tomb of the Space Gods, capable of summoning the Celestials back to Earth when they want to pass judgment on humankind. There's the villain of the film, we'll talk about him in a moment, Druig. He's actually there manipulating both sides throughout this. Then we have a character named Sprite. We'll talk about her a bit more in a moment, but she's the one who, the movie will most likely take place in the present, but she'll be the one to tell us the story. Marvel's really good about having that story told over visuals in a brief amount of time. And what the Celestials told the Eternals to do is be on Earth, protect from the Deviants, call us if you need us, but you're not to interfere with humanity. You can keep the Deviants at bay, but do not interfere. So that's why you didn't see them in Battle of New York or when Thanos came down. They were charged with not interfering. And the movie will focus on Dane Whitman and Cersei, their love story, with Druig, of course, being the main villain of the story. And we do have some set photos, some ancient ruins, which I'll show here, and it's very, very Jack Kirby. There was a couple different runs. One was Neil Gaiman, another was Jack Kirby. This is seemingly pulling, at least stylistically, from that Jack Kirby run. So we have Salma Hayek as Ajax. She's the leader and the matriarch who has healing powers. Gemma Chan is Cersei, and she's an adventurous spy with psychic powers. She loves the humans, and she actually wants to integrate the races, despite being told not to. Thena is Angelina Jolie, and she's this warrior with super reflexes, and she has a secret. People are saying it might be a secret baby. Maybe that was Thanos. We don't know. We also have Icarus, which is Richard Madden. This is a quote, dutiful soldier who manipulates cosmic energy. There's also a rumor that he might be bisexual. Lauren Redloff is Makari, and she's a mute scout with super speed. Kumail Nanjiani is Kingo, and he's a wisecracking fighter whose idea of keeping a low profile is to become a Bollywood star. Fastos is Brian T. Henry, and he's a homosexual inventor disillusioned with humanity with an adopted kid. So they told him not to interfere or intermix with humanity, but the way around that is adoption. Sprite. Now this one's interesting. Sprite is Leah McHugh. She's a cheerful storyteller who can project illusions. So what I think is going to happen here is Sprite's going to be the one to tell the story, probably to Dane Whitman, who if anybody would be interested in the thousands of years of history of the Earth. So she'll be telling him the history and story of the Celestials through her illusions and her storytelling. And there'll be cameos. You might see Ego, the Living Planet. You might see a story of a young Thanos in a brief cameo, but it won't be the adult Thanos. You might also have some of the Infinity Stones showing up at some point through her stories, but it will be cameos. It won't be major to the story. Gilgamesh is Don Lee. Don Lee is described as a gentle giant with super strength and endurance. And then we get to the villain, which is Barry Keoghan, and he's Druig. Druig's described as a treacherous psychic who hates humans and feels the Celestials dealt them a shitty hand, making them humanity's caretakers. And then we have arguably one of the most exciting of all of these, and that is Kit Harington as Dane Whitman. Now, Dane Whitman, if you don't know, is actually a superhero that goes back to the Golden Age and the Silver Age of comic books through Marvel called the Black Knight. And in this, he's described as a human archaeologist versus I think he was a physicist before, who discovered that Tomb of the gods. He's an archaeologist. He went out probably down to South America and found that tomb of the gods. So they sent Cersei to erase his memories, but instead of that happening, she's gonna fall in love with him. So then Cersei's torn between her allegiance to the rest of the Eternals and her love to Dane Whitman. So that leaves the question, does he find the ebony blade in the tomb? How does he become the Black Knight? Has he always been the Black Knight? Did he find that somewhere else? Well, this breakdown and plot leak does give us a lot of extra information and confirmation of things we already know. It does leave a lot of questions still on the table. So as those come out, I'll be sure to bring them to you. And go ahead and leave me your comments on this. Do you think it's plausible, realistic? Do you like some of these choices? I'll be interested to read your thoughts down below. And that's it for this one, my friends. This is Jesse with JL's Comics, and I'll see you soon.